Assalamu alaikum, welcome back. It is exactly 11 after 9 o'clock. This is News and Views on Salam Media. We're into the second hour of the show this morning. We will now be crossing over to Ramallah and speak with a Palestinian journalist who lives there. He is a farmer and also a political and environmental activist. He is Fareed Taamallah, and we are going to be talking about the people in the West Bank being under siege. Assalamu alaikum, Brother Fareed Taamallah. Welcome to the program.
Alaikum assalam and good morning for all the people of South Africa.
Okay, we believe that you are obviously in the West Bank, or rather in the West Bank, everybody is under siege. And obviously, this is now showing up the Western world's hypocrisy, because as settlers and Israeli forces kill Palestinians with impunity, the state is intensifying your physical and social repression. What exactly is it that they're doing, preventing you from going about your daily business as normal as possible?
Yes, look, the international community and everyone is giving attention to what is happening in Gaza, and this is understandable, and everybody here is also focusing on the atrocities of and the genocide in Gaza. But the Israelis, the settlers and the Israeli army are using this attention to Gaza to carry out their plans in the West Bank. There have been many raids taking place in the Palestinian cities and Palestinian villages in the West Bank, and around 200 people have been killed since the October 7th here in the West Bank. And the Israeli army is organizing arrests during the night every day. 2,500 Palestinians have been arrested since October 7th in the West Bank. And also now all the Palestinian roads, the main roads are locked, and we are under siege. We are not allowed to use the main roads in the West Bank, while the settlers are roaming and they are attacking Palestinians, especially during the olive harvest, which is taking place now in the Palestinian territories. And the settlers are expanding and using this time of war to expand the settlements and to build new houses and to displace Palestinian farmers from their farms, and they are kicking them out of their farms. All this is happening by settlers and by the Israeli army, which is protecting the settlers when Palestinians try to defend themselves. The situation here is very bad, and the killing and arresting and settlements are expanding day by day. And this thing was happening before the October 7th, but after the October 7th, it's more extensive. And settlers are using the time and racing the time to take as much as they can of the land.
So even pre-7th of October, the occupied West Bank was being harassed by the settlers and the IDF.
Yes, of course. Usually, I like to say that the history did not start on the October 7th. Before that, and along the last 75 years of Nakba, Palestinians have been subject to the Israeli displacement and land grabbing and killing. And even this year, before the October 7th, around 250 Palestinians were killed in the West Bank. And at the same time, there was like 5,000 Palestinians in the Israeli prison, including women and children. And every day, the Israelis are establishing a new settlement and expanding the existing settlements. And all this before the 7th of October. But after the 7th of October, it's more intensive. And they are doing it very quickly. And there is nobody is following them, I mean, in the courts, or there is no trial for the settlers who are killing people and farmers in the Palestinian territories. The land grabbing is growing. The settlers, accompanied by the Israeli army, are grabbing land, more and more land. They are cutting off water and cutting the trees of the Palestinian farmers. Yesterday, they cut the nearby village, next to my village, they cut off 80 olive trees. Every tree is old, it's like 70, 80 years old. And also they are stealing the olive harvest while they prevent farmers from entering their farms, which is next to the main roads and to the settlements. And now they are calling for sterilized buffer zones next to the settlements, and they want to prohibit Palestinians from entering these lands. On the same time, the Israeli army and the government of Israel is distributing arms and guns for the settlers, and they are forming militia under the pretext of security. And this militia, the main goal for this militia is to dismiss Palestinians and to kick them out of the land, to take over the land and annex it to the settlement.
The West Bank and Gaza were occupied by Israel in 1967, and according to the UN and the international community, both territories were supposed to form a single political entity, the foundation of a Palestinian state, as part of the so-called two-state solution. Do you think going forward, if there is calm and peace and the genocide stops in Gaza, that this will still be possible?
It should stop. It should stop very soon because every 10 minutes there is a Palestinian child being killed in Gaza. So there is an urgent need to stop it soon. But the Israelis, at the meantime, they are trying to separate the West Bank from Gaza, and that is taking place since like decades. Me, as a Palestinian who lives in the West Bank, I cannot go to Gaza. I cannot visit Gaza. The people of Gaza cannot enter the West Bank because it's separated, totally different areas. It's separated, and in the West Bank, they cannot do anything now, right now, for the people in Gaza because we have no access to Gaza. It is far away, and it is separated by the Israelis. And even when it comes to political things, Israelis are all the time they were supporting the split between the West Bank and Gaza, and part of their policy is not to have any kind of Palestinian state or Palestinian sovereignty over the territories in the West Bank or in Gaza. The main idea is to kill any hope, kill any possibility to establish any kind of Palestinian entity, political entity. And this is exactly the core goal of the Israeli government. And even now, when the Americans talking about the future of Gaza, they try to put an agenda that it should be united with the West Bank, but Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said clearly there will be no unity, there is no control of Palestinians over the Gaza Strip, and it will be under fully Israeli security control. And this is part of the vision of the Israeli government, is to prevent in any way, in any case, to prevent any possibility to have Palestinian entity, political entity like a state or a government or an authority. And also the Palestinians in the West Bank now are looking to what is happening in Gaza as the beginning. If the Israelis succeed to displace the people of Gaza and kick them out of the Palestinian territories, if they succeed with that, and we hope they don't, they will start doing the same in the West Bank. So people are scared of thinking about the future, the near future of themselves living in the West Bank. Maybe Israel will try to displace, to commit massacres here in the West Bank and pushing people to leave to Jordan. And that's what exactly was written leaflets distributed in my village by settlers. They distribute leaflets for the farmers in the olive groves, asking them to leave immediately Jordan. Otherwise, they will commit a new Nakba for Palestinians who are not welcomed. And they claim that we are strangers living here, and this land belongs to the Jews in Samaria and Yehuda. And they ask people to voluntarily leave the country to Jordan. Otherwise, they will come and they will kill. They will cause a new Nakba, a new catastrophe, and displacement for Palestinians. So this is exactly, it is a pre-planned plan, and now they are using what happened on October 7th to carry out very quickly these plans. And I hope that the international community will help Palestinians in stopping this kind of plans and to stop the occupation and the injustice in the Palestinian territories.
Obviously, they talk about they're going to create a new catastrophe or a new Nakba. I believe it's happening right now in front of our eyes. This is the second Nakba, as the way I am seeing it. But be that as it may, they wanting the people of the West Bank to move to did you say Lebanon or Jordan? What are the governments of those countries? Pardon?
The idea is to kick the people in Gaza to Egypt, to Sinai, and to kick out and displace the Palestinians in the West to Jordan. And so, that's why the Jordanian government was clear about it, that if Israel is trying to do that, they will consider this as a war crime, as declaring the war in Jordan.
Absolutely. What is the Egyptian government saying? Because we had heard a short while ago, 2-3 weeks ago, that Israel promised the people if they move into the Sinai desert, they'll set up a temporary tent city for the people of Palestine. But we do know it won't be temporary. Once you leave Palestine, there's just no going back, because they won't allow you to go back into your homeland, will they?
Look, we Palestinians, we have learned from the Nakba of 1948, and the displacement or leaving the country is not an option for Palestinians. And I see in Gaza, I see in the TV, people in Gaza, when they demolish their houses, they are sitting next to their houses, next to their demolished houses, and say that obviously that we are not living here. We have learned what happened. It's true that people are fleeing Gaza, the city of Gaza, to the south of Gaza, but this is still Gaza. So they hope that they will come back to their houses and homes after the war. So it means for Palestinians, we don't think about the possibility of leaving our country and to leaving our lands and farms and homes. Because we learned from the history that anybody leaves the country will never be able to come back again. So it is not a matter of temporary displacement because of the war, because this is happening everywhere in the world, that people, they flee the ground when there is war and come back later. But for Palestinians, they know that if they leave, they will never be able to come back to their homes. So this is not an option for Palestinians, and in spite of all this genocide and destroying and killing in Gaza and in the West Bank, the idea of leaving the country or leaving the homeland is not on the table for Palestinians, and we are trying to stay here and to grow our children and raise our children and grow our crops and trees and staying in this country. But we need, this is in theory, but we need the support of the international community. We look admirably to the South African position of kicking out or pulling the diplomats from Tel Aviv, and we are looking forward that South Africa and all the other countries to cut the ties with Israel and to put sanctions on the Israeli criminals, and the Israeli leaders should be held accountable for all the atrocities they are taking place. So we Palestinians are in the mood of resilience, but we need international support to help us with and to protect the people of Palestine. And it's not enough that we are resilient, but we need this support urgently.
Fareed, how soon do you believe this war will end? Are you hopeful? And once it ends, what do you think the position's going to, how things going to play out for the rightful people of the land? And that, of course, is the Palestinians. Are you hopeful at all?
Yes, we are hopeful, but not hope is not enough by itself alone. I mean, it is not easy to answer this question. It is the 1 million question. Nobody can answer how it will go. That depends on the resilience of the people of Gaza, number one. And number two, it is the international community that can help. We are seeing the demonstrations taking place in Cape Town, in Johannesburg, in South Africa, in Europe, in America, and the Arab countries. And we think that maybe the only hope we have is that those mass of demonstrations, people in the streets, will influence the government to do something to stop this genocide very quickly. Very quickly means now, because every minute we are losing more and more innocent people, and more houses are being destroyed, and the possibility of displacement is getting bigger and bigger. So I cannot predict what will be the end, but we still have this hope, and the hope is inflamed by the scenes of people demonstrating for Palestine and protesting and trying to push their government to halt this genocide. And maybe this is the only hope we have, is that people around the world, those free people who are calling for justice and peace, will prevail, and they will stop their government, especially in certain countries, from supporting Israel politically and military. And we are looking forward to stop this war very, very quickly and soon.
Inshallah, Ameen. Our du'as with one and all, you, your family, and all of our brothers and sisters in Palestine. Please try and stay safe. It's a tall order. Allah protect one and all, inshallah. And all I can say is that we're making lots and lots of ongoing du'as. Assalamu alaikum to you, and thank you for talking with us this morning.
Thank you.
9:29 News and Views on Salam Media. Next, we'll be talking with Mahfouz Rafi, activist with the SABDS Coalition.